Look, imagine, take it from our point of view, if like Russia was coming over here and overthrowing the pro-America government in Montreal and installing a pro-Russia government there. Right. And, you know, like this would be seen as, would you call that an unprovoked attack? Right. You know, if we were to go in there and then go overthrow that government. Jesus so again, I'm not justifying what he's doing, but, and then the other thing to this, right, that's important to add is like, you remember the two big things that it's so weird no one, like, at least in the larger conversation, I don't see anyone connecting these things, is that there's two things like involving Ukraine that were very big, that happened very recently in American history, that very much connect to this war. And one is that our last president was impeached over a thing with Ukraine. And like, what was that? And then the other thing is the current president's son was getting paid millions of dollars from a company, Burisma, in Ukraine. And these things all connect. And basically what happened was after the 2014 coup, this company, Burisma, they were, and by the way, Matt Taibbi has done incredible reporting on this. I highly recommend everyone read his stuff, his Substacks. Incredible. Yeah, he's
fantastic.
Unbelievable. But so basically, Burisma was in bed with the old government that had allied with Russia. And so when this government was overthrown, they were very worried because they were like, oh, we were in bed with the old government, and now there's this new government who's in there. And so instead of bribing the new government, they just went right to the source and bribed the son of the sitting vice president. Joe Biden, when he was vice president, was in charge of Ukraine policy.
Oh my God.
So they just went, that was why they put him there. And then they put some other like CIA guy or something like that on their board. They're just paying him money to just be like, hey, keep us in with you. And then Trump was telling them to investigate all of this shit. He got on the phone with them and was like, I want to investigate everything that was going on with Joe and Hunter Biden in Ukraine. And Donald Trump did. He got into an area that there's an argument it was not okay what he was doing, because he was kind of going like, maybe you don't get these weapons that I was going to send in unless you go investigate them. And this was his political opponent. So it was a little bit of a shady thing. But then the other story about that is that ultimately Trump caved and he sent in the weapons to Ukraine. So now not only did Obama overthrow the regime when Joe Biden was the point man, Joe Biden was running Ukraine policy, Obama leads this coup, overthrows that government and puts in a pro-Western government. Then Trump comes in, sends in a whole bunch of weapons to this new government that Obama wouldn't even send in because he was concerned it would provoke Russia. And then the next president is Joe Biden, the last guy who was the point man on Ukraine, who was there when this coup happened. Then he comes back in. And this is all like the context that led to Vladimir Putin invading Ukraine. So again, I'm not saying, and the other little thing I should mention there too is that Donbass region on the eastern portion of Ukraine is like majority ethnic Russians. And they got really pissed off when the new government came in 2014, and they were basically warring with the Kiev western portion of Ukraine since then. And they had a referendum in 2015 and voted overwhelmingly that they wanted to be a part of Russia. And Vladimir Putin didn't take them, but they voted that they wanted to be part of Russia, not a part of Ukraine. So it's just a very complicated mess, and it's the same thing with like the war on terrorism. If you're going to tell this story of like what led to this, to understand where to go from here, the story has to include that America was intervening in the Middle East for decades before 9/11. The story can't just start at 9/11. You know what I mean? And so I guess the biggest part is what I said before, that the concern of all of us should be just that there's no nuclear conflict between America and Russia.